wasn't overriding a major media decision. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. This is our annual report to the community on the 2023 year-end results. We've had years where this has not been a good report, years where it has been better, but I want to start by offering our wishes to the people of New Orleans. It's something that I know everybody here feels deeply. Everybody in the Detroit Police Department spent last year very much focused on the potential for these kinds of incidents at the NFL draft, at the Grand Prix, at the fireworks, the auto show coming up, and of course, we are preparing thoroughly in case we have celebratory events in February. And we're going to continue to do the great job that we've done. I do want to say we have a huge game on Sunday night with the Vikings coming to town. Going to be big crowds downtown. Go Lions. But I want to thank the sheriffs of Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County and the federal agencies who are providing additional security resources on top of the outstanding job DPD usually does. When you come down, you will see visible signs of higher security, and you will there will be others that you don't see. But I'd say you might want to get here just a little bit earlier, but I think everybody understands that we are going to take every precaution possible. We don't have any threats or anything like that, but we just thought it was prudent, and I appreciate all of the other agencies who are so quick to support, and Chief Bedison will talk about that a little bit. We have numbers that are nothing short of remarkable. The homicide numbers, 2/3 of the cities in this country saw significant homicide reductions. In most cities in America, the COVID surge is now receding, and that's a good thing. In Detroit, we're seeing something extraordinary. We aren't just coming down to the COVID levels. We are dramatically below pre-COVID violence levels in this city. In fact, with 203 homicides this year, it's the fewest since 1965. And it's a result of what everybody here has done. And to give you a sense of the historic context, I know we passed out these charts. I was the prosecutor in 2002. And I remember the Detroit police celebrating, we got under 400 homicides for the first time, and they said, we never thought we'd see that number. And a few years back, I was the mayor, and we got under 300 homicides. And now you've seen just 2 years later, where we are bordering on 200 homicides. We have not seen reductions of this nature before. And then the shootings have been just as dramatic. In the last couple of years, you have seen drops from 1,200 shootings a year to 600 shootings a year. And I want you to think about that. You've gone from 300 to 200 homicides, 1,200 to 600 shootings. That's 100 homicide victims and 600 shooting victims fewer. These aren't numbers. These are real people, mostly young people in our community. 700 fewer were victims of gunshot violence. And of course, the impact of gunshot violence, it doesn't stop with the victims. In most cases, the police department arrests and convicts. The prosecutors put them away for a long time, and the lives have been ruined of the shooters. The change in this community in just a few years has been very special. And of course, on the carjacking side, we were carjack city in 2015 with 10 a week. We rolled out the green light plan with an intention to wipe carjackings out of this city, and now we're fewer than 3 a week. And I want to thank the 1,000 business partners who have put green lights in their community. And as everybody in this city knows, there may be some academics who can't figure out off a study whether green light has dropped carjackings. But people in this city who are feeling harassed or in danger are literally driving to green light locations before they call 911 because they consider those locations safe havens. In my State of the City speech 2 years ago, I talked about the fact that I had never seen a partnership coming together this way, and I thought it would have results. And Chief White at the time said, why are you predicting results before we've seen them? But I watched what was happening, what Dawn Eisen And all of the federal agencies were doing, ATF, DEA, Homeland Security, FBI, in taking the big cases federally was terrific. When County Executive Evans stepped forward and says, I'm going to resource the prosecutor and the sheriff to do this. When Judge Frizard and Judge McConnell came forward and we said, we've got a backlog of 3,000 gun felonies, people wandering the streets who have never been adjudicated one way or another. There's no doubt why we have these problems, what it took to get that docket down. And then you put the state officials who helped us, between the state police and the Department of Corrections, our CVI teams who came in and started the prevention programs, and you see what happens when a system works together. And we're really proud of these results. But nobody's claiming victory because while we have done very well, we're not the national leader on this. And my congratulations go to the city of Boston. If you're not following this, 24 homicides last year in the city of Boston. They've been following the same strategy year after year for several years. And we are using their ceasefire strategy. We're using their real-time crime center strategy. We're using their federal partnership strategy. But we've also adopted our own CVI and green light strategies. But think about this. Boston's got the same population we do and had 24 homicides last year. Gun violence is not inevitable in urban cities. It is not. What we haven't done is have good enough policies so that our young people make different choices. Because we intervene earlier, the response is more direct, and we are starting to see the implications. And of course, I also want to thank Detroit City Council and the Detroit Police Department. We gave the $10,000 raise to officers almost exactly 2 years ago. Since then, we've got 340 more officers on the street. We've added in excess of 600. But between those who have left, we've got 340 more officers on the street than we had 2 years ago. 99% of the sworn jobs in DPD are filled today because people want to be a part of this department. And what that allows you to do when you have the shootings we saw in the illegal street parties this summer is immediately the department can respond to the mobile field force and start to deal with early signs of street parties and 911 calls. And we stopped, after the 4th of July weekends, almost entirely the shootings at the illegal street parties. When you can respond like that. And then you take our CVI teams, who are now fully in the neighborhoods, and what they have done to diffuse this, you start to layer these together. The conversation I've listened to over the years. Defund the police, we need to fund prevention, as if you have to fight with each other on the right and the left. The truth of the matter was we needed more police, and we needed more CVI programs, and we needed them working together, and Detroit is proving that result. We got a lot more to do. Nobody is sitting here saying we're there. One of the problems we've created for ourselves is that the freeways have become zones of danger in this city. If you drive the streets of the city and engage in a shooting between green light cameras, business cameras, and Ring doorbell cameras, there's a good chance we're going to find you. People have figured out the one camera-free zone is on the freeways. We are putting 450 freeway cameras and license plate readers on the freeways. The first 25 are up. They'll all be up this year. Thank you to Governor Gretchen Whitmer and the state legislature for funding that. But before the end of this year, the Detroit freeways will go from zones of danger to zones of safety. Another step in the right direction to cause people to make different decisions. The other thing is that while the circuit court and the district court have done a phenomenal job in dealing with the adult docket, just tell you how this works. DPD is coming in the second half of the year saying more and more of our shootings are juveniles. They're 15, 16, 17-year-olds. The carjackings are juveniles. At the same time, the CVI teams come in, and they said, we need to start dealing with these young folks earlier. And Warren Evans and Brian Reinhardt, you're going to hear from, come in and say, we got a real problem in the juvenile justice system. We've got juveniles who are charged with serious crimes out on tether unsupervised. We've actually got cases where juveniles out on tether are engaging in shootings. Now, it makes it relatively easy to catch them and prosecute them, but it doesn't do any good for the shooting victim. And so with the county's leadership, and again, Judge Frizard, we are going to focus on the juvenile justice system in 2025 with the same energy we all worked on the adult side in 23 and 24. There is one last piece that we need. and we need to dramatically expand the CVI program. What these activist groups are doing, engaging with these young people early on, is nothing short of outstanding. We've shown you the numbers, and Chief Bedison will show you them again today. The Michigan legislature last July appropriated $100 million in a public safety trust fund for cities in this state. They appropriated. The money is sitting in the account in Lansing. All they had to do was pass the trust fund legislation so we could spend it. Lansing itself, the city, was getting ready to hire a number of cops on October 1st. Grand Rapids was getting ready to hire mental health co-responders. We were getting ready to expand the CVI teams. Flint was getting ready to expand. Muskegon was getting ready to expand. And the legislature left without passing the bill. Today, that $100 million is still sitting in an account in Lansing instead of being on the streets of this city. We need a major expansion of the CVI program to do the prevention. I just am so pleased with Governor Whitmer, who has been just a strong leader on this. Really pleased to see the new House Speaker, Matt Hall, has already committed to moving this as a priority. And it's my hope that Lansing acts, because 200 homicides is too many. We have a lot more to do. We need the resources to do it, and we hope we will get that support. And with that, we have such a unique situation in the leadership of this department. We had one chief who went to run the mental health system. We had the other chief who was running the CVI program, who's now running the police department. That's the way the social services and prevention are interacting with law enforcement. So please welcome your chief, Todd Bedison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank all my federal partners, state partners, local partners, and just the community in general. Today is a good day. One of the things is when I was elected interim, or I should say appointed interim police chief, the thing that I said was key on being collaboration. And so with that, that's how we get it done, just working together. The mayor briefly spoke about being prepared for Sunday's game, large events. We know what happened in New Orleans and Las Vegas. I received many phone calls from many individuals, anxious, worried, saying, hey, how does that affect us in the city of Detroit? Will we be safe if we attend large-scale events, in particular the game on Sunday, and then we know the week after is the auto show? Let me tell you this. We work each and every day. This collaboration that's behind me, we have been prepared, working. So it's there. You think about the NFL draft, what we did, how we provided the safety posture. We know what we're doing. But in preparation for Sunday's game, I have additional resources. The team behind me, whether it's HSI, the FBI, state police, Wayne County Sheriff. And then when I say collaboration, I picked up the phone and I called Sheriff Bouchard of Oakland County. And I said, Sheriff, this event right here is so important and it's a regional thing. Can you send us some resources? He said, sure, Todd, absolutely. So I'm just letting the community know that if you see sheriffs from Oakland County, and I'm gonna have many visitors from Oakland County attending the game as well, that's the collaboration. Macomb County, Sheriff Wickersham, he's sending resources as well. Now, just like Coach Campbell, when you think about the playbook and you're watching the Lions and they have the covering of their mouth and you can't see the plays, I will tell you, my federal partners have already said, Chief Bedison, you cannot talk about what we're doing. But what I will say is it'll be some noticeable things. And so like as Mayor Duggan has said, please pack your patience, get down a little earlier, because we have increased our security posture and there will be some noticeable differences. So with that, I will jump into my portion of the presentation. Part 1, crimes. The mayor has talked about the homicides being low, non-fatal shootings, but overall, we experienced a drop of our Part 1 crimes, and that's the violent crimes, the crimes that you typically see, of 7%. Overall property crimes decreased 3%. Some of the other things that you will notice as well is, how do we do it? NIBIN. We actually put in 2,599 investigative leads into our National Integrated Ballistics Integrations Network. What is that? That's shell casings, that's spent casings, where we actually track the shell casings, or when a gun has fired a bullet, we actually track the gun to be able to track it to gun crimes. ShotSpotter, that's just been absolutely amazing, where we've got over 373 arrests from our ShotSpotter notifications. Just last year in 2024, we've recovered 6,211 guns. And of course, with our green lights, we originally started back in 2015 with 8 gas stations, but we're over 1,000, matter of fact, 1,030 green light locations. And one of the things that I can tell you is the retention rate is well over 90% as far as businesses that join green light. They see the value of it, they pay to be a part of the program, but they're still there. And those original 8 gas stations that entered back in 2015, guess what? They're still a part of it today. Our federal partners, I can't thank them enough. It's all about collaboration. I get a chance today and stand here as chief and brag about the numbers, but it's not about me. It's about the hardworking men and women of the Detroit Police Department, whether they're our civilians, who we call our professional staff, whether it's our executive team, and just federal, state, local partners. And I'm going to thank them. That's going to be the theme throughout this, and thanking the community as well, because guess what? We have to do it again in 2025. And so they have doubled down with the commitment, because when we stood here back in 2024 and we had historic lows when Chief White and I was deputy mayor, along with the mayor and this team, we announced what we were doing. We knew that we were going to have to beat those numbers. And I'm so proud here today to be able to say that we absolutely did. Our federal partners charged over 180 individuals for federal crimes, been 1,700 felony arrests. The federal partners took 520 illegal guns off the streets, and they executed 600 search warrants in the city of Detroit. It's absolutely amazing. Just give our federal partners a round of applause. Now, as I go to this slide right here, One Detroit, I really want to give this lady, our U.S. Attorney of the Eastern District of the United States of Michigan, Don Eisen, as I get ready to bring her up, just really a round of applause, because she has been out there. You have seen her. Not only is she tough on crime, not only will she tell you straight talk like it is, but with the soft spot, and with her having me as the chair when I was deputy mayor, the chair of the prevention committee, it's just been wonderful. So you saw us walk in the neighborhoods, whether it was in the 9th precinct on the east side of Detroit, or the northwest side of Detroit in the 8th precinct, with our peacenik, with our community huddles. It's just been amazing with the amount of resources that we were able to bring to the community, because we know that we can't arrest our way out of crime, but we have to be able to inspire individuals and give them the resources so that we can give them a hand up so that they can change their lives. With that, I'd like to bring your U.S. Attorney of the United States of Michigan, of the United States of America, Michigan Eastern District, Don Eisen, to the podium.
Y'all gonna let me get emotional here a little bit. Thank you so much, Chief White, Mayor Duggan, my other chief, I'm sorry, I did say Chief White, didn't I? I'm sorry, Chief Todd Medicine, and my other chief, Chief White. Let's see, last year, Mayor Duggan challenged the One Detroit partners. Would the low rates of violence in 2023 be a one-time aberration, or were they the start of something bigger? A year later, the results are in. Crime is down in Detroit. Violent crime is down in Detroit. It is down. Homicides, we have reached a new record low. Homicides down 19.4% from 2023, and non-fatal shootings down 24.5%. And if you go back one more year to 2022, the year the One Detroit partnership began, the numbers are even more remarkable. In 2022, 1,264 people were shot or killed in Detroit. Since then, there has been a 36% reduction in violent crime. 36%. And remember, these are lives we're talking about, because as I have always said, everybody counts. And that's why I couldn't agree more with the mayor that even 202 is too much. But This past year and since 2022, 455 fewer people were killed in the city of Detroit, and 455 fewer families were left grieving. Now, instead of being leading the nation in violence, we are being recognized nationally as a model for the nation. And I can tell you this because I sit on a national committee. This is an article right here from the Vox digital production. Want to know how to reduce gun crime? Look at Detroit. I sit on a national committee of U.S. attorneys working on violent crime strategies, so I can say this with certainty. Boston is a leader because they've put in the work way sooner than we did, but Detroit is now a national model for how to reduce violent crime. Detroit is now a national model for how to reduce violent crime. In 2024, One Detroit Partners remain committed to the principles that have guided our work for 3 years: focus, balance, and fairness. We aggressively focused on our enforcement work on the relatively small number of people who commit such a large amount of violence. And we know we had the illegal gathering that people call the block party, and we know we had the incident at the tailgate and those things, but we're talking about everyday urban violence, excessive everyday urban violence by the small number of people in the small number of places. And that's the focus we have been working on so hard. We balance that work by joining with our community, faith partners, and credible messengers to prevent crime. And we have been transparent about our work to build confidence in the fairness of this approach. I'd like to talk a little bit about the hard work of my office and all of these One Detroit partners to get where we are today. Last year, our enforcement team, which includes my incredible team at the U.S. Attorney's Office, our exceptional federal partners here, the great talent at the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, and of course, the phenomenal leadership of the Detroit Police Department. They again relentlessly focused their work on those who are driving violence. We tried and convicted members of the Almighty Vice Lords Nation, a violent national gang, for their involvement of the murder and attempted murder of a woman in front of their children at the Shirley Plymouth Playground on Detroit's west side. We tried and convicted members and associates of the 1125 Street Gang who kidnapped and beat a woman they wrongly believed was involved in a carjacking by a rival. We tried and convicted a man for illegally possessing a firearm he used during a shooting. We tried and convicted a man who hired others to murder people in Detroit and elsewhere. And that's just a little bit of the work. But we also continue to partner federal prosecutors with 5, and we often get this wrong when I see this written in articles that it's just the 8th and 9th precinct. We do put a lot of effort in the 8th and 9th precinct during the summer enhancement, but we are in 5 precincts in Detroit, and we're doing this all over Detroit. 5 of the most violent precincts to better identify violent people and places. And in 2024, we charged more than 20 violent individuals with federal crimes under this initiative. We charged more than a dozen with illegally possessing firearms after they avoided prosecution for shootings and other acts of violence when the witnesses were intimidated and would not cooperate with the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. And then my guy, the chief now, former Deputy Mayor Bettison. We know that prosecuting those who commit violence is an essential part of any successful strategy to reduce violence. So we have been aggressive in our prosecution of those who are pulling triggers. But to truly succeed, we need to prevent crime. And so we have continued to work hard to engage with our community, our faith leader, and our credible messengers to stop violence before it occurs. In 2024, One Detroit Partners hosted peaceniks, and thousands of Detroiters came. And we provided resources, not only for people to have an opportunity to make a change, jobs, license restoration, expungements, but also resources for the people most affected by the violence in the 8th and 9th precinct. And we provided reentry support for hundreds of returning citizens. And we have several success stories from people who have attended what we call our community roundtables. led by our fearless Daryl Woods, one of our most notable credible messengers. Finally, we kept the community informed about our work. Federal prosecutors have partnered with community relations councils, precincts throughout the city. We held community huddles, basically press conferences in the communities most affected by the violence, so that we can update citizens on different initiatives during the year. And we hosted a violent crime forum at a barbershop on the city's west side to encourage conversation, talking and listening with people in our community who might not be so comfortable in more formal settings. One of my top priorities, my personal top priorities, was to build community trust between law enforcement and community. And we joined with Force Detroit in that barbershop forum. With these principles, focus, balance, and fairness as our guideposts to fulfill our 3 pillars of the One Detroit Partnership, enforcement, reentry, and prevention, we have laid the foundation for a true co-production of public safety in Detroit between law enforcement and the community. The community should take a bow to, because they deserve credit for these results also. It is through this shared responsibility for safety that we have accomplished so much. Our community knows what this type of partnership looks like now and what it can achieve. And so it is my hope, as I prepare to leave this office, that this work, this partnership will continue. And I'm going to take a little indulgence now to say thank you to my incredible team at the U.S. Attorney's Office, Mayor Duggan, Chief Todd Bettison, Chief White, also for all your work as Deputy Mayor. I want to thank Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy, our federal partners, particularly ATF and the talented agents who led the charge on removing violent offenders and weapons from the streets and using their game-changing technology to identify violent offenders. Thank you to our state partners who are not here. That is the Michigan Department of Corrections, Heidi Washington, Director and Assistant Director Beverly Smith, who led our reentry pillar. Thank you to Daryl Woods, our relentless, credible messenger, who was such a leader in our reentry efforts. We want to thank Michigan State University research analyst Chris Meldy, because he was tracking our work, analyzing what we were doing to see if it was effective, because we were trying to be results-driven. I also want to thank our council, our community council representative, Mr. Alvin Stokes, our faith leadership, Bishop Edgar Van, Ceasefire Detroit, and Bishop Harris, and last but not least, all of the community of Detroit, who realized they deserve better and worked hard to achieve it. We, as one community, working together to improve the quality of life here, we are One Detroit. Thank you so much.
You get an opportunity to see exactly how we did it. It's all about collaboration, putting egos aside, and just getting the job done. And so at this point, I would like to bring up a federal partner, Mr. Gibson, our ASAC, or SAC of the FBI. Mr. Gibson.
Good afternoon. My name is Shigavaya Gibson. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's field office here in Detroit, and I have responsibility for the entire great state of Michigan. I want to express my gratitude to Mayor Duggan, Chief Todd Bettison, for inviting me to join you during this historic press conference. I would also like to express my gratitude to U.S. Attorney Dawn Eisen for her outstanding work during 2024 and her partnership to help us bring to you and present historic lows in crime violence in this city. To my federal, state, and local law enforcement partners who you see in front of you today, thank you for your commitment to our ongoing collaboration to keep Detroit safe. To the Detroit community and our media partners, your vigilance is essential to helping us investigate cases, make arrests, which directly contribute to reducing crime. I am honored to speak on behalf of the dedicated men and women of the Detroit Field Office and highlight our strong partnership with the Detroit Police Department. FBI Detroit is proud, and I say very proud, to work alongside members of the DPD tackling crime, and ensuring public safety. Through our unwavering partnership, we assist with complex investigations, provide advanced tools and resources, and support efforts to keep Detroit safe. Our shared mission is to protect the community and ensure justice is served. Every day, task force officers from the DPD and other local agencies dedicate service by participating in our federal task forces where they are deputized as federal law enforcement agents to conduct investigations here in Detroit, the state of Michigan, and throughout the United States. Their expertise and dedication and commitment enhances our ability to disrupt criminal activity and maintain public safety and ultimately reestablish trust in the law enforcement profession. While we often operate behind the scenes, our commitment to transparency and accountability remains steadfast. The FBI's mission is to uphold the U.S. Constitution and protect the American people, which is a responsibility we take very seriously. When Detroit is safer, Michigan is safer. Ultimately, a safer Detroit makes the entire United States safer. The positive impact of a safer Detroit benefits us all. It doesn't matter what walk of life you're from. Once again, we greatly appreciate our partnership with Chief Bettison, his executive team, the Detroit police officers who risk their lives each and every day to keep this city safer. I extend my deepest gratitude to my team of professional staff, intelligence analysts, and special agents here in this great state of Michigan for their tireless and selfless work and unwavering commitment to keeping this great state safe. To the Detroit community, your trust and partnership are vital to our success, not only as the FBI, but the law enforcement community at large. We cannot do this without you. Together we are strong, and together we will continue to make a difference. Thank you, and have a great and safe, prosperous new year.
And at this point, I would like to bring up HSI, the SAC, Ms. Angie Salazar, to give brief remarks.
Good afternoon. I am Angie Salazar. I'm the Special Agent in charge for Homeland Security Investigations in Detroit. And like Zach Gibson, I'm responsible for all of Michigan. First and foremost, thank you, Mayor Duggan, Chief Bettison, and the Detroit Police Department for your exceptional leadership and unwavering commitment to reducing crime in this city. HSI is proud to stand alongside all our partners to highlight the important work being done to make Detroit safer. At HSI, we leverage our unique capabilities and authorities to support efforts aimed at improving public safety. Together, we worked on important initiatives to combat auto theft and prevent international smuggling of weapons and narcotics into our communities. Like many, our HSI agents call Detroit home. We are personally and professionally invested in the success of this city because we all benefit from safer streets and stronger communities. This is a great day for the city of Detroit, and with continued teamwork, we look forward to the achievements to come. Thank you.
And when you think about the criminal justice system, you think about the enforcement aspect of it from the police, but then oftentimes what you don't think about is actually the courts. And so the mayor has briefly spoke about it in his opening remarks when it comes to court cases and having a backlog. And we all know what happened during the COVID pandemic, where the courts were shut down, the cases built up. But under the Chief Judge, Patricia Fassard, leadership, and with the other stakeholders as well, we've done some amazing things, and the backlog has now been resolved. And I'd like to bring up our Chief Judge, Patricia Fassard, to give brief remarks.
Thank you so much, Chief Bettison. I'm here to represent your court, your Wayne County Circuit Court, and I want to let you know that we are so very grateful and so very honored to be a part of this team here. When I became Chief Judge 2 years ago, the work seemed to me insurmountable. after COVID, we were backlogged by over 3,500 cases. And today, I am very proud to say that we are 98% done with those old cases. We have 62 of the over 3,500 cases, old circuit court cases left. And that is so very important. And we are very grateful to Mayor Duggan, to everyone on this team, all of law enforcement in partnering with us. Chief Bedison talked about collaboration, and none of this would be possible for any of us without the intense collaboration and work that this group put forth. So when I started as chief and we started to attend the meetings as a circuit court, we saw that this court, Wayne County Circuit Court, is the very busiest court in this state with over 3 times as many cases to handle as the largest, second largest court in the state, had to look at and partner with our partners here and work hard and look at the problems. So what we did is we joined together with all of these people here, and we looked at what the problems were, and in making the assessments and implementing and brainstorming, we included community activists, seniors, young people, church communities, schools, and even former gang members and young people who had been problems to the community were included, because we want to respect people and we want to ask people to step up to the plate and be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. And we saw so much success, and we saw so many people in the community because of lack of resources who had gone in a wrong direction who could be saved. And we saw that the few who needed to be separated from the community because of the dangerousness to everyone in the community could be resolved through the resources that we had. We were fortunate to attain and use well a $3 million grant with the court in order to have judges, visiting judges helping, and other resources to help do our part in this problem. But I also want to look at what the mayor said about the juvenile justice problem. And right now, there is a national and a state level juvenile justice reform going on. And we at the court are very proud to be one of a very small number, I believe 6 courts nationally, that got intense juvenile justice reform training. And I'm proud to say that we also had Darrell Woods, a great community member, included in that, and Frank Hardester, our court administrator, included in that. And juvenile justice reform is so necessary, and it's not a unique problem to Detroit. Detroit is a national model of success, and we expect next year to show the national model of success in juvenile justice reform, because it is no surprise with the raise the age and so many more very young people in the juvenile system, and the fact that although we have 60 judges, we have only 6 in the juvenile division. And we need to add resources, and although there are supposed to be national and state monies coming down, we are in search of, and I think Frank is in search of, a grant writer to find out where does that come to the court. We need at least a couple more judges, we need more resources, and we will continue the effort, and we will be proud to be here next year to tell you the success that we've had in that division. Thank you.
As you all can see, Darrell Woods is definitely a busy individual. How many jobs does Darrell Woods have? Well, he's also the chair of the board of the police commissioners as well. And so definitely want to give a shout out and thank the board of police commissioners, and thank you for what you're doing. Next is another court system as well, and so it's 36th District Court. And with the pending backlog and clearing up the felony gun cases by 84% within the last 2 years, I'd like to bring up Chief Judge McConico to talk about how he did in those results, and just thank him for all the hard work that he's done in that regard.
Thank you very much, Chief Bedison. You're hearing a lot of good news today, and I'm not going to be redundant, but I said this the last time we had a press conference. I want to start out by thanking Mayor Duggan and County Executive Evans. When they called this group together, it was a one-of-a-kind group. The courts are normally not included when we're thinking about criminal justice reforms and crime fighting. And the mayor and the county executive realized that if the courts are not a part of the solution, you can do all the crime fighting, you can have good prosecutors, but if it stops at the court, you cannot bring this home. And so I do want to thank the mayor, and I want to thank County Exec, again, Evans, for having the forethought to bring this group together. Since we started meeting, especially during the COVID period, I swear I spoke more to the mayor's staff and the county exec staff than I did to some of my own judges because we were working to come up with a system. And when we actually started to dig into the data to see how many gun cases were happening in the city of Detroit and was really collapsing our docket, just from a meeting that we were having, I came up with the idea of creating a CCW docket. I did the docket myself for 18 months, and now we have Judge Kevin Robbins has taken it to another level. That is a way of, if you have a gun in the city of Detroit, you're going to be arraigned in 48 hours, you're going to have a pretrial within 7, and you're going to be in front of Judge Robbins in 14 days. So now this is going to happen quickly. There's no longer, you don't know, it could be 6 months, it could be 8 months. No, this is happening in a couple of weeks. And we see these cases have gone through the system, and you see they're dropping. When there's certainty in the court system, people who commit crimes, they know this. When there was a time at Circuit Court in the 36th District where you didn't know when you would actually have a hearing, they knew they'd be out for a year. They'd be out for 10 months. That's not the case anymore. The men and women of the Detroit Police Department have done a phenomenal job with keeping our streets clean and safe. The Wayne County Sheriffs have done a phenomenal job. And again, we have worked with them, coming together with Third Circuit, sharing data. We had a meeting one time and we found out there was a crime that occurred and you had about 20 people on tethers in the area. No, we now have conditions on tethers. If you're on a tether, there's no reason to be out at 2 a.m. So we're going to have a curfew. We want you to still be able to work, take your kids to school, but you're going to have some conditions. And doing that has caused this great drop. And so I just want to, again, say that collaboration, working together, getting out of our silos, we have pushed this forward. And the juvenile system is something that it is the job of the Third Circuit. But we realized that we're going to come at it from a different way to assist in another way. We have started going into our schools, whether they're charter schools or whether they're Detroit public schools, and our judges are going out and they're talking to the students. We started an internship program at 36th District Court where last summer we had high school students from 4 different DPS schools, Wayne County Community College, we had students from the University of Michigan, and we had some law students. And by having young folks get involved with the system early, it stops them from getting on the other side of the law. And so we're doing our part to get into the schools and to really help on that. And again, I want to thank everyone and all the partners, both our chiefs for being here because they've been a great resource. And again, Mayor Duggan, thank you for all your work.
At this point, I want to bring up a partner, someone I'll pick up the phone definitely with and call and ask for additional resources. And Wayne County Sheriff Raphael Washington, along with also Chief of Staff for CEO Warren C. Evans, I'll ask them to both come to the microphone because the amount of work that they do in the city of Detroit with our FAST team, our fugitive apprehension teams, and actually in cooperation with DPD, we have members assigned to the task force as well, where we do the large warrant sweeps. You saw we just did one right before Christmas and got a lot of violent offenders off the street right before Christmas. We're talking about 1,600 individuals with outstanding felony warrants that have been arrested for gun-related crimes. So at this point, Sheriff Washington, CEO Reinhardt, welcome you both up here.
It's definitely Chief of Staff Reinhardt. I'd like to have my job at the end of this press conference. Sheriff, come on up. Okay. I will just start off by saying congratulations to DPD. What an amazing year. Just remarkable. And it really does start with the men and women in uniform. We get the accolades up here, but it's everybody from the entry-level police officer all the way up the rank and file. It's amazing what you're doing. To all these stakeholders on the stage, thank you so much for your partnership on behalf of Executive Evans. Shout out to Daryl Woods, yes, you need more love, and Zoe's back there as well. The stuff you all are doing and those that are doing the work but not here today, it's amazing what you're doing. It's remarkable. And the county's really excited to join this partnership. As you know, Wayne County's recently entered into some of these partnerships and conversations to get involved, to get involved with the CVI group. So we're real excited about it. In addition, ongoing efforts regarding the Violent Crime Reduction Initiative, and the sheriff is going to speak to the FAST team in particular here in a moment. But you know, through Executive Evans' leadership, recognizing his place and our place in the ecosystem, we recently made historic investments into our juvenile population through diversion and prevention programming, and we're really excited about it, and we're just getting started. With that, Chief Bedison, we remain committed to our partnership, and thank you for everything. Sheriff?
Thank you. Thank you, Chief of Staff Reinhardt. Before I get
that right.
right, for sure. I'm gonna get it right. You know that. Before I get started, I do want to say, since Daryl Woods seems to be the theme of what's going on here today, he also carries our chaplain badge for the Wayne County Sheriff's Office as well. So he doesn't just talk to the ones that he come in contact with. He prays for them and preaches to them at the same time. Yes, sir. I just wanted to get that out the way. So again, we're here today to talk about very briefly the numbers as it relates to the FAST and Violent Crime Reduction Initiative team task force working together. It's comprised of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, our deputies, as well as the Detroit Police Department officers. We get this done because we're stronger together. So over the last year, in 2024, we were able to lock up. We're talking about people who have felony warrants against them, violent crime felony warrants to our industry, docking and dodging their day in court. We were able to lock up 1,086 people who had felony warrants on them. And that's a good time to clap your hands. It really is. Felony warrants against them. We often know that if those who have committed felonies, and we're talking about violent crime, if they're not brought into custody and if they're not having their day in court, they're in the street and possibly committing the same crimes, if not even more. So it's very important that we work together. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office, Detroit Police Department work together and bringing those into custody so that they're not out doing the same things and violating our citizens who are out just trying to do the right thing. So I want to say, Chief Bedison, we're going to continue, and there's all categories. I just want to say there are all types of categories, felony warrants, categories that they have committed, crimes they've committed, from murders and manslaughter to assault with intent to commit murders, all the way down to stalking and PPOs and all, it's everything in between. We've been able to do that and lock them all up. So it's a good thing. And I just want to let Chief know and Mayor know that we're looking forward to 2025 because we're going to be here working together, continuously working together, because I think we're strong together and we're out here together. People know that we're working together. It's not us against the community. We're out here trying to help the community by taking these violent offenders off the street. So we'll continue to do that with you, and we want everybody to know to have a good new year. We're going to be out here for you. You'll see us, and we'll be doing the job. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Then another partner who's a trusted partner, I'm going to ask Colonel Grady of the Michigan State Police to come and give brief remarks. They definitely assist as well. 115 felony arrests. They're doing impounds. Of course, Michigan State Police keep our freeways safe, and they also augment us being able to help us out at special large-scale events. And so, Colonel Grady, I'm going to continue to ask you to keep doing what you're doing, but come give brief remarks, and thank you for being a trusted partner.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year to everyone. It's great to be here this morning. I want to start by thanking Chief Bedison, Mayor Duggan, and everybody else, all of the law enforcement leaders sitting right up here on this stage behind me. We can't get anything done without working together. So protecting our communities is a top priority here in the MSP. We have participated in multiple initiatives working in close partnership with the Detroit Police Department, other local and federal law enforcement partners to, of course, combat crime, violent crime, human trafficking, street racing, and other criminal activity, while providing traffic safety on the freeways in this great city. The MSP has and will continue to provide a number of resources to ensure a safer Detroit. This includes our aviation unit, which routinely assists troopers, DPD, and local police agencies with tracking vehicles that flee from a wide variety of criminal activity from the air, often leading to safe and effective arrests on the ground. The MSP Aviation Unit had a total of 122 flights, totaling 428 flight hours during the 2024 fiscal year. The MSP Crime Labs also have played a critical role in processing crime scenes and assessing evidence to assist in solving crimes. Our emergency support team assists with dangerous arrests and search warrants. Our fusion centers, whether it's in Lansing or here in Southeast Michigan, have assisted with monitoring potential threats. And one of the jewels, I think, of our partnerships when you start talking about MSP and DPD is there's the major case unit, which consists of MSP and DPD investigators and other staff. This is a team of investigators that go out and they solve violent crimes. They go out and they solve very complex crimes by working together. And it's something that's needed. It helps lead to the numbers that you've seen today, which I applaud the efforts from all of the agencies that have been involved with reducing the violent crime here in the city of Detroit. Because we want to make sure that we work together to bring justice to victims and their families. And troopers from the Metro South Post, that's the post that covers all of Wayne County and the city of Detroit, they recently enacted 2 traffic squads specifically dedicated to combating other dangerous driving behaviors in the freeways in the city of Detroit. These troopers are routinely assisted by DPD's traffic enforcement, along with other patrolling officers to ensure safety for officers and motorists alike. And in 2025, as we start the new year, you will see these partnerships continue with MSP, with all of our agencies that are here today. I think that it's so important, again, if you want to have that success in keeping everyone safe. I want to provide a brief reminder that in 2024, I'll reopen the doors. What used to be our Detroit post is the 2nd District headquarters, so that whether you are a citizen here that resides in the city of Detroit or if you're a visitor, you can come to that post, you can give us a phone call, and we will provide assistance any way that we can to make sure that you are safe and you get what you need as far as public safety services. Everyone deserves to feel safe in their home, in their community, and on the roadways that they travel. To meet this mission, we must go beyond the law enforcement professional partnership. There is a very important part to providing and maintaining community safety, and that includes the assistance from the residents of the city of Detroit, the people who witness the criminal activity and can provide the information to help law enforcement professionals solve crimes. We need you. Please keep providing information so that we can do the job that we need to do out here to keep you safe. Through the continued cooperation and dedication of all of our agencies that you see here today, we will work together for a more secure Detroit and, by extension, a more secure Michigan. Thank you, and have a safe and blessed year.
Community Violence Intervention, CVI. You've heard and seen the tremendous results of what CVI has done and what it's meant, but I want to bring up a champion for CVI early on, Councilmember Fred Durhall, and I'll ask him to come and give brief remarks, but he's definitely was the chair of the Gun Violence Task Force for the city of Detroit. And so, Councilman Durhall.
Thank you, and I want to thank the mayor, as well as Chief Bedison, former Chief White, who is in the back, Attorney Isom, and all of our partners who are here today. It is a very historical day here in the city of Detroit when we talk about the lowest homicide rates since the 60s. I will not act like I was born then. Shout out to those of you who were. However, it is very historic because as someone who grew up in this community, had the opportunity to represent it in the state legislature, now on city council, had the opportunity to travel just across our country. When we talk about Detroit, there was a stigma that was attached. So no matter what, and the tremendous progress that we have made, whether that's tearing down 30,000 structures, the question was asked, but is it safe in Detroit? Whether we worked to improve how we do business in the city of Detroit and developments coming, the question was, but is it safe in Detroit? Whether we hosted the NFL draft here in the city of Detroit, the question was, but is it safe in Detroit? Now we're starting to have the opportunity to answer that question and say, yes, it is safe in the city of Detroit. And so that is why this is historic today. People are only as safe as they feel. And because of these tremendous partnerships that we have had and established here in the city of Detroit, folks in our communities are starting to feel safer. We are starting to shift the narrative here in the city of Detroit and state that Detroit is one of the safest cities in the country. That being said, the other question that we have is what now? We have to continue partnerships like this, continue to push forward, and understand that one shooting, one homicide is one too many. Those are numbers and those are statistics, but there are lives that are actually attached to these numbers that we talk about every single day. On the other side of that coin, there are officers who go out into the street every single day and risk their lives, don't know if they're coming home every single day as well. There are members of our community violence intervention team who go out, put themselves in harm's way in these communities to stop gun violence and provide prevention and intervention when necessary. And so we've got a lot of work that we must continue to do here as a city. I will say I am thankful for the partnership that we have established with the mayor's office and law enforcement. City council has been great. Those of us who have supported some of the resources and tools that we need to move this city forward, whether that's license plate readers, whether that's Shot Spotter, whether that's all of these tools that help us in law enforcement. But we've got to continue to push for more tools. And I think the mayor hit the nail right on the head. One of the biggest tools is funding here from the Public Safety Trust Fund so we can continue the work and great work that we're doing here in the city of Detroit. So I look forward to continue to push. Thank you again to all of our partners, particularly our CVI program. This is what you have started to see has shifted the narrative when it comes to crime, because we are getting into the communities and we're doing policing like they have never done before across the country. So God bless you and God bless our CVI partners and DPD. Thank you.
Community violence intervention, the city of Detroit's program that we call Shot Stoppers. And we actually got that name from community members, where we have 6 groups that actually have contracts within the city of Detroit. Each of them has geographic integrity of 3 to 5 square miles within the city. Those areas were chosen, the CVI zones, because historically, going back even looking at the data, 5-year look back, those were the most violent areas when it comes to homicides and non-fatal shootings in the city. You can look and you can see the map. That's a 5-year look back. Since the program started, one of the comparison points were how they will be judged as far as performance was quarterly comparisons, but also taking into account of the citywide trend. The citywide trend for the past quarter, 35%. Each one of those groups during this past quarter beat the citywide trend. Detroit Friends and Family, an 83% reduction in homicides and non-fatal shootings. 83%. Let's give them a round of applause. I'm going to bring your attention to Force Detroit, which is over in the Warrendale community, a 52% reduction. And I'm going to have Zoe DeJuan Kennedy actually come up and give remarks. But what's interesting about Force Detroit is consistently since the inception of the program, they have actually hit their performance goals, beat the citywide trend, and for that, I'm going to have Zoe come up. And if you look at this comparison chart right here, when it comes to their CVI zone, since they've been there, they basically removed all of the heat spot from and reduced the violence in their area. So you see from 2018 to 2022, you can see the red. 2024, it's an absence of red. They're saving lives. Zoe, DeJuan Kennedy, please give him a round of applause.
How y'all doing? I spent 15 years in prison. When I was in there, I heard the African proverb, the village that neglects the child will burn so that the child could feel its warmth. Being a son of Detroit, born and raised, I say this to all the sons and the daughters of Detroit, born and raised or adopted. When you don't neglect community, these are the type of results that you see. They talk about Darrell Woods. Darrell Woods was locked away for how many years? I was locked away for 15. Lost because the system, I guess it was neglecting us. I want to thank or give honors to the pioneers that was doing this work before we even came home, that was establishing relationships, that was under the scrutiny of people who didn't understand what we was doing or what they were doing. And I stand here and I hope I speak well for all the CVI organizations, all of the organizers, all of the activists, all of the advocates. When it comes to our work, we appreciate you all honoring us, not trying to compromise our work, us not compromising your work, and believing in us. Because we could be thrown away. And the reason we've been able to be successful because we didn't get thrown away, so we know not to throw our community members away. We use these terms at times we call participants, but these are community members that's participating in safety and healing. I want to honor the community as well. I want to honor the young men, young women who make the decision not to harm, who make the decision to reach out and try and resolve the conflict before it happens. I want to honor them. I know when I get to saying names, you miss one, and that started, you know, people, I ain't about to do that. I ain't about to do that. But we've been successful because metrics have been developed to measure our work and give us credit. We've been successful because we've been acknowledged. We've been successful because we've been funded. And all that is at risk. It is. We was funded for 2 years. And this is the last year. So while I'm up here, when you talk about public safety and the public safety trust, I'm going to speak on that. Because the reductions or the credit that we've been given, and for me to be up here speaking, I'm speaking because someone gave me a job and I was able to walk off a construction site and go back to my community and spend time building up people instead of building up structures. No slight to carpenters or laborers. But we building people and building community. And our community and our people have been torn down by systems. That's just the facts. Now we have an opportunity to influence systems to rebuild community. We have an opportunity to give community the opportunity to be the solution to their own problems. So I want to extend thanks and honors to our local government, our local law enforcement, but more than anyone, like, it couldn't work if the individuals that we were engaging didn't trust us and didn't want better for themselves. These reductions are not just happening because accountability is there. These reductions are happening because individuals want more for their life and it hasn't been available and they haven't had access. And once you give people access to alternatives, they take that. Because I got out of prison and took it. Daryl took it. And many others took it. The only reason I said his name is because they keep saying it. I leave y'all with that. I appreciate y'all. This is the last year. We up here taking credit, but our work need to be funded in perpetuity, just like their work is funded. Our work need to be funded. That's the thing. It needs to be sustainable. And that is at risk. And that's what I would like to speak on. That is at risk. Our work needs to be funded in perpetuity so we can continue to build our community and redeem ourselves.
Yeah, Public Safety Trust Fund, House Bill 4605, 4606. So we know what we need to do. At this point, I would like to bring up Alvin Stokes, Citywide Community Relations Organizations. I've been knowing Mr. Stokes a long time, whether I was a lieutenant, whether I was a commander with the police department, a deputy chief. Mr. Alvin Stokes has been a man that I've had to call on many of times to help me within the community as far as all types of things when it comes to deconfliction amongst community groups, et cetera. So Mr. Alvin Stokes is amazing and has been supporting the Detroit Police Department a long time. Mr. Alvin Stokes.
God bless you. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the mayor, Chief Bedison, Chief White, U.S. Attorney. When they came to us, they asked us to have a seat at the table. And we haven't had a seat at the table in quite a while. And when they formed this group, they said, hey, well, look, we need the community. The community has come a long way. We've done things in the community that we haven't done in a long time. I want to thank DPD for the hard work that they have done, especially our neighborhood police officers, who is our first point of contact. And when we start dealing with the quality of life issues in the community, it made a difference. It made a difference because people were talking about building up downtown, what's happening with the community. We are the community. When we start taking control of our community, we start seeing a difference in our community. When you get rid of the blight, when you get rid of the crime, you start feeling good about yourself. When you can say, we've had 100,000 people come down to the tree lighting ceremony without an incident. We had over 1 million people at the NFL draft without incidents. You know, when things start happening in the city, people start looking at the city. I remember when we used to be the murder capital of the world. Well, we don't want that title anymore. I remember when someone said, the last person out of Detroit, turn out the lights. Well, our lights are burning bright, and we will continue to burn bright. With the help of this team that sits behind me, with the help of DPD and the community at large, we continue to strive forward to make Detroit a better place to live, work, worship, and play. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for their commitment and what we're doing, and we look forward to moving Detroit forward. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. At this point, I want to bring up a man that I've worked for a long time, worked with a long time, been a partner, just phenomenal, and is the interim police chief. I can tell you, coming into my position in November, but it was Chief White who has done amazing things, built a tremendous leadership team amongst the DPD, a team that I left intact, because if something not broke, why fix it? And so with that, I want to bring, let me get it right, CEO White up of the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, because now is my role here. We know that mental illness plagues so many of us. It is the root cause of so many things that happens within the community. And so I give him so many accolades and thank yous right now because I want to sit down with him really, really soon in this year. Matter of fact, before the end of this month, so that we can talk about additional funding and what we can do to enhance our programming for the community and even for our officers. So CEO White, my partner, my friend.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. You know, I didn't expect to be here in front of this podium and this backdrop again, at least not this quick. So I'm here to talk about D-Win, certainly, but I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to just congratulate Chief Bettison and the best police department in the United States of America. My goodness. My goodness. Certainly our CVI, and Zol's indicated already that once you start saying names, you're going to miss somebody, so please forgive me if I miss you. But I got to talk about what led to the success that I had the opportunity to participate in. You know, having been here close to 29 years, 3.5 of which I spent as chief, 9 years as assistant chief, I have never worked for a more dynamic individual than Mayor Duggan. And I want to thank you for giving me everything I needed to be chief. Thank you, sir. Todd Bettison has just been phenomenal as the deputy mayor, partner. He never stopped working for the police department. So let's just stop playing around. He's been a phenomenal partner and giving us what we needed. And certainly when it came time to put those raises together, Todd was an instrumental component to that. So thank you, Todd. Very quickly, give him a big hand, please. U.S. Attorney Dawn Isom. These people are not just titles. These are folks who answer the phone and help us. And I'll go quickly. Special Agent in Charge Gibson, Special Agent in Charge Salazar, Judge Farzard, Judge McConico, Chief of Staff Brian Ryan Hart, CEO Warren Evans, Raphael Washington Grady, Colonel Grady, I'm sorry. Grady, I'm talking like I'm talking to you on the phone, asking for your helicopter. MSP and their partnership helping us literally. I would pick up the phone and say, look, we got this going on the east side, we got this going on the west side, and the question is, what do you need? What do you need? And they're there. So thank you all for assisting me as chief. Now, let's flip the page, turn the page to D-Win, Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, and I am very, very proud to be the president and CEO of that organization. We're going to bridge the gap. We are going to provide services to our community. D-Win is doing a phenomenal job. They are. And as my staff here will remind you, one of my favorite phrases is the reward for good work, more work. So we're going to do more work at D-Win. And we're going to be accountable to this community, and we're going to provide more services. But I do want to say this. Darrell Woods is I am not kidding. He is one of the board members of the Substance Use Disorder Group and works very hard, and I'll be meeting with him to talk about substance use disorder and how we can impact it even more so in our community, and certainly with our young people who have decided, some have decided that marijuana has zero impact. I personally, wherever you are with it, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, but I still view it as a gateway drug to bigger problems. So we're going to get into the schools even more and deal with that. A few things that are on the horizon. D-Win was informed by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services that it would be receiving a full certification as a CCBHC, which is a Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic. We just got that designation January 1st. What this designation will do is help transform Michigan's behavioral health care system to a more equitable and accessible and accountable unit. And it'll break down financial barriers, it'll break down physical barriers. We'll be providing services regardless of your finances and your insurance. It has been 1 year, December 18th, since the launch of D-Win's 12 mobile crisis units, 12 24 hours a day, 7 days a week crisis units. They have serviced 1,573 calls to persons experiencing a behavioral health crisis. We know in the police department, you can't arrest your way out of crime. We know that there are a number of things that impact decision-making for folks who are engaged in crime. And oftentimes, particularly as it relates to barricaded gun people, folks who cannot resolve simple conflict and domestic violence, there is a mental health nexus. And this crisis, 24/7 Crisis Center is going to continue to be impactful. Let's talk a little bit about the 707 Crisis Center. From its opening from June through October 24th, 2024, over 800 calls for individuals needing services were answered. We are also opening a crisis center on 7 Mile. That's the one near Evergreen. And we hope to have that open within the next year to year and a half. DWIN is the largest mental health agency in Michigan, offering integrated behavioral health, substance use disorder, and other services to our community. I'm going to give you a number I want you to have. I want DWIN to be on the tips of everyone's tongue when they talk about folks in need of crisis services, mental health services. Where do you turn? I want you to turn to DWIN. And that number is 1-800-241-4949. 800-241-4949. I want you to know about DWIN. We're going to use some of the techniques here in the police that I use in the police department, and that's a data-driven approach. Zoe talked about that. It's important. It's important to know where services are needed in our community. You just can't randomly provide this type of services. You need to know where the services are needed, what services are needed, and how we can provide those services to our community. So with that, I say thank you. And I look forward to working with you, Chief Batterson. I know there's a lot of work to be done. You've already started calling me, and I look forward to those calls. Thanks.
And so with that, before I close it out, I just want to give Ceasefire Detroit a shout out with Bishop Harris over there. So let's give Detroit Ceasefire a round of applause. And then just thanking my executive team with the Detroit Police Department, the men and women of DPD who's working as hard as they could possibly work. Just thank you for that. And we're going to continue to work smarter and continue to support our people and continue to collaborate within 2025 so that next year, when I'm standing here along with Mayor Duggan and we're all here, the same crew.
Actually, I won't be.
Oh.
I'll be watching on TV.
Good. Well, yeah, that's a fact right there. So, okay. All right. So we'll open it up for questions.
And if we could have media come over here and ask questions at the podium, that'd be easy. Thank you.
And then give it a shout out to the media as well. I want to thank the media partners because you have been great. You have assisted. You help us get the information out. The media has been fair. I believe that. With the good news stories and when we're looking for wanted individuals, that really does make a difference to the community. When you see something, say something, they do, and we push it out. And so with a responsive media like we have in the city of Detroit, whether it's 2, whether it's 4, whether it's 7, and our social media platform as well. So you think about Metro Detroit News, who I follow, and I don't know how they keep getting their information out so quickly, but it pops up on my phone. So I just want to give them a shout out as well. And for all of our other media, whether it's Deadline Detroit, I just thank all the media outlets. It's just been amazing.
All right, Chief Will Jones from Channel 4. I'm just curious about the homicide clearance rate for 2024 and how does it compare to previous years?
Yeah, our homicide clearance rate, that's been the lowest also since 1970. And so with the violent crime going down, the number of homicides going down, that pushes the clearance rate down. Did you say clearance rate?
Yeah, the homicide clearance rate.
Oh, homicide clearance rate. I bleave we're like at that 60% right now. So 59%. And so we're doing excellent.
Your clearance rate has gone up.
Yep. Yep, our clearance rate has gone up. Most of the time with crime, we're always going down, but our clearance rate has went up, and the national standard is where we at?
We're around 50%.
So we're about 9 points above the national clearance rate. So our detectives are doing a great job, and for the audience, that means the closure of cases.
So it's better from 2023?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All righty.
Chief, I'm Charlie Ramirez with the Detroit News. Wanted to ask, given the events that happened in New Orleans, can you give us a little bit more detail about what the DPD and your partners plan to do, given that we've got some major events coming up? We've got the auto show coming, we got, Sunday's game. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I will definitely give you a little bit more. And so I have air coverage. I even have marine coverage. I have land coverage. We're rerouting some of our traffic patterns. And that's about all I'll say when it comes to that.
Interim Chief John Hewitt, WWJ, congratulations to all of you in the community at large on the report. My question also is in regard to security for Sunday evening and beyond. What do you glean from what happens in New Orleans and also in Las Vegas when these incidents happen? Because I know it's perpetual, but I'm also interested in what you would say to the public when you try and strike a balance of not wanting to alarm, yet how you take these incidents, what people at large should draw from them, and again, your eyes and ears out there in terms of the public.
Yeah, that's excellent. Definitely going back to the public. You're our best first line of defense. If you see something and it just doesn't feel right, call 911, alert us, because we want to prevent something from happening in the first place. To the public as well, we don't have any credible threats here in the city of Detroit or towards the game or towards anything, so there's no credible threats. But we do look nationally and internationally to assess what's going on, and so we are definitely, it is my folks, I was on a call with the Lions organization today, and a former police officer who works for them said they stay at a heightened state of alert, and so we practice. We have exercises, we're always doing that, and so we're always in a prepared state, and we believe that if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. I say all that to say that this partnership here, we have practiced together, we have the muscle memory from the NFL draft, we did our Super Bowl, we do large events well in the city of Detroit, and we work well together, and the other good thing is, we actually like each other. We do. And so we have something special in the city of Detroit that a lot of places just don't have. And to the community, pack your patience, because when we change traffic patterns and we add extra layers to enhance the security posture, it could be an inconvenience. And it's like, hey, we know everyone wants to get places that they want to and they're familiar with familiar routes. But it will be some disruption. It shouldn't be too bad, but they will notice. All right, thank everyone. Thank you for coming out.
Couldn't have been better. Great job.